Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. Mark here. Welcome to our new show. It's called On the Timeline, where we do deep dives into the edits of our recent Loop Pictures short films that we made, specifically looking at the editing and how these films were constructed. And because Big Sip was just released earlier this month, we thought that we'd start with Big Sip. So here we go. So we start off setting that expectation. It's a two-shot. It's a date scene. We've seen this before. Where's it going to go this time? Playing with those expectations. And the whole time, all of my decisions is about setting up that expectation and then subverting it so that we're really paying attention to the character's behavior and where the comedy comes from. Moving into a close-up to establish Jessica here, and then what's his response? Nothing. Paying close attention to those eyes. Every shot, reverse shot, and obviously his action here. Leaving this moment long to really draw out that awkwardness. We played these shots on either of them quite long so that in the edit, I really have space to find those in and out points of those perfect moments to really expand or decrease the moment of time to my liking. Obviously, this film is incredibly awkward, very awkward. Really paying close attention to the eyes. And that's really what I'm looking for when I'm looking at shots. When it's shooting it and shots when I'm editing is I'm looking at the eyes. What decisions are they making? How are they going about solving problems? How are they looking at the other person? All of these incredibly smart decisions and choices that the actors are making on set. Playing this moment long and then moving into the close-up and then to her eyes is to sort of establish this absurd behavior.
Good afternoon.
The Wei-Chun arrives. Again, there's that looking at the eyes, there's that triangle of eyes to establish that we know what she's looking at, which is very important.
I know what I want. I'd like a double thick chocolate shake.
Again,
Infused
all eyes,
creamy white
all eyes,
chocolate
all
syrup.
eyes.
Peanut crumble,
Her
a
reaction,
dash of creme fraiche.
the fact that his gaze does not even move to the Wei-Chun is a lot of where the more comedy beats come from.
And a hint, just a hint, of cinnamon.
All eyes,
Okay, so one groovy boogie shake.
which is a very
I'll have
important.
the cinnamon.
The interruption again, moving to a two-shot, and it's kind of like, did he really just, what is he gonna do? So all of these moments, and you can see me explaining it, all of these moments and these decisions in the cutting really add into how I am guiding you through this experience. And a lot of the cutting is to obviously the audience surrogate, which is the character of Jessica. A lot of the cutting is played towards that because that's who we empathize with through the film. Setting it up this way with singles on each of them really allowed that room to play. And I think that's another very important note to make is a lot of people think that when you just shoot, you just set up a wide and single and two shot here, and then you just in post you just figure it all out. With a lot of this, I had it already pre-edited in my mind, even from the script phase, and I know how I'm gonna edit it when I'm there on set. And I think that's very important because then you only get the things that you really need. It's all about their reaction. It's all about their eyes. Every single shot, reverse shot, I'm looking at their eyes. Every single moment when I pick my selects, I'm looking at their eyes. When I'm looking at the monitor or I'm just on the camera on these on the set, I'm looking at their eyes. I'm looking for those moments and I play the moment until I call cut, according to when I know that I've got something to play with in the edit. Let me jump back here a bit. The introduction of the waiter.
Creamy white chocolate syrup, peanut crumble, a dash of crème fraîche, and a hint, just a hint, of cinnamon.
You can see that I chose the take that I liked of Michael's performance as he gave the order. But all the reaction shots, I didn't want to be so strict, and I wanted to play around with the timing a lot
Double thick chocolate chip.
in the action and reaction. So I find that oftentimes I generally try to stick to like one cut at a time. I find that too many tracks gets like way too confusing. For me personally, obviously I will do more if it's extremely necessary. But for moments like this, I find that it's quite helpful to have your reaction shot above and you're able to have that play, that interplay off one another. Like here, this moment, it's great. She actually does this at a slightly different time to when he was saying it. And you'll find that if you plan how you're going to shoot it in this way, this allowed me to really focus in on the comedy, because the comedy is obviously all about the timing. So to really place those reactions exactly where I wanted them, I think this moment, she may even be reacting to another part of his order, but it was all about refining these amazing reactions that Leah gave in her performance here. So he did various moments of that straw throwing. There still are some very slight continuity problems here and there, but they aren't really problems because you don't really care. At the end of the day, if someone is focusing on your continuity, something else is going wrong. I'm allowing the audience's gaze to move from reaction to action, cutting just after a blink here. It's very subtle. I think this performance in this moment is great because I'm looking for blinks for like a change of thought or a different way of going about solving a problem, not generally specific to this film, but I think a performance like this in this moment is quite strong because you can see there's a hint of sort of something else that's going on beneath his cockiness. He's deciding, oh, I'm going to stick with this. I'm going to stick with this. You know, he's really committing to being such a horrid person, but there's that doubt there that plays into the comedy because obviously all the stuff that he's doing to try and impress Jessica is all very put on. Moving forward to the actual sip, as it begins, you can see if we just pull up the script here that the beats, the action and reaction are written very succinctly, almost the same way that like an action script would be written. And these are the pieces that I knew. Obviously some things changed here or there, but that when I was watching it, I knew I had that moment. I knew I had this moment. I can cut between that, and that goes back to what I was saying about editing beforehand. Even from the script phase, if you look at the script, you can see the action, the reaction. It's almost like I'm cutting it there and then. A mistake someone can make is not thinking, not considering editing from the pre-production phase. And I think it's very important, especially in the case of this film, because otherwise I wouldn't know exactly what I needed to get to actually construct this. So going into the sip here, you really see that expansion and contraction of time. Obviously a real shake would go down far quicker, but I'm playing it to the eyes, each cut, each shot, reverse shot is establishing a new piece of information. As we see here, it's just like new morbid curiosity, like what? That's what I'm looking for in the performance. Those moments, especially in the film here, which is almost completely silent, I'm looking for those important beats. Drawing it in, really pulling that tension. I've got singles on each of them, so I know I can expand and contract that time for as long as I want. The actors are probably reacting to different parts of these performances, but I can really, because I've got these, because I set it up and I knew I wanted to get these two singles on them for these moments here, I can really pick and choose the specific performance beats I want, like this brilliant moment here. It is so great. Here, playing with the music, the music is really scoring Jonty's cockiness here. It's what he believes in his head, and I think that's also a very important edit choice is what music are you using? What are you cutting to? What's the tone you're trying to establish? What is the score scoring? Is it scoring the character? Is it scoring the situation? Is it scoring the emotion of it? I think score can be used more than just scoring exactly what you're seeing on screen. You know what I mean? I think a lot of the comedy here comes because we know that the score here is scoring his cockiness and sort of control of the situation with this silence that he has. He's so full of himself. It's ridiculous. He's absurd. Moving into these moments here, you don't just want to have a two-shot and then get a close-up and then a close-up there, and then you want to find specific moments as you're shooting it so that you know later. I knew that after the part where he starts sipping again, we're more connected to Jessica's sort of plight as she has to endure this ridiculous human, and we move directly into her point of view, which is very important. And then we come out to the reverse shot, to her reaction, and we've changed the shot again, sort of revitalizing it a bit and not sort of obviously just reusing shots or the same angle, but it's more than that. It's moving deeper into this conflict, into this ridiculous, absurd scenario as we get literally more closer up to it. Obviously moving to his eyes here. Ridiculous wink there that times close up with the music as it furthering that idea that this is what it's scoring. It's scoring his cockiness because he thinks he's some big war hero. He thinks he's gonna save the day and sweep the goal off his feet. He's got sort of all of these old ridiculous ideas in his head. Again, change shot again, closer in. We haven't seen this angle before yet. And really pulling in closer, and then the shots get tighter and tighter, is really pulling that string, quickening up the pace, building up, and then we move into the two shots. And then we change shot, and it's sort of change perspective here to this shot, and it's sort of, okay, we've entered this new part of this conflict here. What decision is going to be made? Really holding these shots, obviously for comedic effect. Those eyes, exactly what we're feeling at this horrible man. And then leaving this long. Nope, cut to black. Playing into the comedy of the whole scenario. This beat here is all moments that were devised by Michael Potter here. Great actor, makes really smart decisions. Obviously playing the comedy and a while, just observing his behavior. What is he gonna do? He grabs a milkshake. These moments of empathy for this horrible man, but I think these beats and why we laugh here is because he's more than just this one-dimensional sort of cocky man, and we sort of start to feel for him, even though he is he is horrible, and he's presented this facade of cockiness as this man who's going to get the woman instantly, obviously, because it's what he's seen before, you know. The comedy there obviously coming from the action and the music, scoring it in that sort of Mickey Mouse fashion. Maybe he really does care about the environment. You know, those are the sort of jokes that we're implying here. And I think that's why we laugh, is because we've set up this character and this is the reversal of that expectation. We expect him to storm away or storm up to her and be like, no, I don't, like, you're supposed to fall into my arms like a damsel in distress. But instead he sits here and licks his wounds, and by licks his wounds, drinks the milkshake that she left. And that was it for the first episode of On the Timeline. I hope you liked it. If you did, give us a like, leave a comment down below if you need any questions answered around the editing of any of our short films. If you're new here, consider subscribing. We release new videos every Tuesday and Friday, and we'll be doing new episodes of this show every week until we run out of films, and then we'll make more short films, and then we'll do editing videos on those as well. And until next time, stay inside and make your movie.